friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ilona, and today I'm super excited to go over my most anticipated 2022 theatrical releases. So as I was making my list, I was both like kind of happy but kind of disappointed that most of the anticipated releases that I have on this list are mostly sequels, but I love talking. A lot of these sequels are for movies that I really enjoyed and loved, so I am really excited to see the next installment for them. But there are a couple of new ones on there too, so we'll go over them. This is not really in any sort of like particular order, so I will like mention like the release date, but it's not like in any sort of chronological order or like necessarily my order of preference. These are just like movies that I know are going to be coming out next year, and I'm excited to see them. Alright, so the first movie I'm going to be talking about is a sequel, but a sequel I'm very excited to see. So the first one is going to be Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse Part 1, which is looks like it's going to be released on October 7th. So this is the sequel to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and I loved it. It was such a really amazing animated movie. The visuals were so cool and inventive. We got to see Miles Morales introduced on the big screen, which was super exciting. And I just love the storyline, the characters, the multiverse concept, and just everything about it. So I'm super excited that we're going to be re-exploring that universe again in this sequel. So a lot of these, pretty much all of these descriptions for these movies are like really not descriptive at all, so really no chance for any spoilers here. But from what it looks like, it does appear that we're going to be going back into that multiverse, and it looks like they will be facing off a brand new, even scarier villain this time. So keeping an eye out for that. The next movie I'll be talking about is Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which looks like is going to be slated for a November 11th release. And of course, this is the sequel to the extremely iconic, very well done, amazing Black Panther movie that came out. So I'm very curious to see what's going to happen with this, as unfortunately many of you know, the star of Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman, unfortunately passed away. So, and I do believe from what I've seen in the announcements, they have not recast him. So there's not going to be like a new T'Challa. However, we are going to see a new Black Panther come up in this movie. My guess is that it's, and I think it's supposed to be Shuri, but I'm not like 100% sure, but I love Shuri's character. She was absolutely one of my favorites in the first Black Panther movie, so I would love to see that happen. And then of course like the universe and just like a continuation of it. It's been so highly anticipated. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic, so I'm super looking forward to it coming out next year. So unfortunately, like with the new Spider-Man movie, it is going to be closer to the end of the year, so it's going to be a long wait. The next movie that I will be talking about is, again, another sequel. So this one I was actually super shocked to see was finally getting a sequel, but it's actually going to be Avatar 2. So like not like Avatar like The Last Airbender, but like the Avatar that came out I think in like 2009 or something like that. James Cameron, you have like Jake Sully was that main character's name, and he like goes to Pandora. So like that movie, after God knows how many years at this point, over a decade, is finally getting its sequel. I do know that like when he like first made the movie, because of like all the special effects and everything, especially for like 2009, like those type of special effects were like considered extremely groundbreaking. Like I remember going to see it with like my dad and my brother, and like that was one of the very few movies that I remember we intentionally went to see in like 3D, and it was very cool. Storylines like kind of predictable and basic, but like again the visuals were like amazing, and just like the amount of thought and world building that went into it was incredibly impressive. So I'm excited to see that we're going to have a sequel coming out to this, which is something, again, I was not expecting. Basically, from what I saw, the description looks like it's mostly going to be them. They're going to be under threat again from another colonizer, so they're going to be fighting against, it looks like a new colonizer in this sequel. The next movie that's going to be coming out next year, again, another sequel, so we're going to have the new Doctor Strange sequel, which is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which is slated to come out on May 6th, so that's going to be a little bit of an well, more like a middle year release, but a lot sooner than the other two movies, the last couple of movies I just mentioned. So very excited to see that. I really enjoyed seeing Benedict Cumberbatch in the first Doctor Strange movie, and enjoyed that, so I'm excited to see his storyline continue and like learning more. It looks like, so based off of like Shang-Chi and like you know, of course with like the Infinity Stones being destroyed, I'm curious to see how like the magic that they practice in his universe is going to, it looks like is going to be playing a more like prevalent role. It looks like in some of the upcoming MCU movies. We've seen Wong like pretty much kind of make like a small cameo in quite a few of them, so I'm very curious to see how that's going to play out in this upcoming movie. And then next we are going to have the Batman. So that looks like that's going to be coming out on March 4th, so again, actually not too far away for it to be released. This is going to be, I believe, the first Batman movie where we are going to see Robert Pattinson take the role, so I'm excited to see that. I remember like when his casting was first announced, and it was so controversial for, I feel like, not really a good reason. I was like, everyone's like, Robert Pattinson? I was like, yeah, I feel like Batman is very like dark and brooding, and Robert Pattinson has played many roles in which he has been dark and brooding, so I feel like that's actually really not as like weird of a casting choice as some people made it out to be, and I honestly think that he's going to do a really good job. I actually just saw a trailer of it recently when I went to go see Matrix, the new Matrix movie, so he looked good. From like the small bit that I saw in the trailer, like it looked very promising, so I'm very excited to see like this new installment of the Batman series. I have to say I'm very glad not to see Ben Affleck anymore in the role. I really just did not feel him in any of his roles in the DCU. So, or sorry, the DCEU. Like is it DCU? Babe. Hmm? Is it DCEU or just DCU? DCU, sorry. So in like, so I was not a fan of Ben Affleck in his role as Batman, so I'm very glad to see we're having someone newer who's going to be taking the helm, and someone who I personally think fits the role a lot better. So that's gonna be coming out. This next one I am super excited about. Like, this is probably like my top like 1 or 2 movies that is being released theatrically that I am like really looking forward to, and that is going to be the sequel to the Aquaman movie starring Jason Momoa, and this is unfortunately not going to be coming out until December 16th. So like an exciting end to 2022 for next year, but I also have to wait a whole freaking year to see it, which is going to be agonizing, but I'm sure it'll be worth the wait. I'm super excited about it. One, I love Jason Momoa like a lot, so much. Been obsessed with him literally ever since I saw him as Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones. He's awesome, and like I also follow him on Instagram, and he just seems like a really nice, like good dad, just like a fun guy. Like he just seems really great. So I really loved him. Like, it is an amazing feat that he managed to take a character that was constantly being made fun of and turned him into like an incredibly cool and incredibly successful like member of this DCEU like franchise. Like, I think Aquaman like is one of the, like, out of all of like the DCEU movies, like Aquaman is up there as like one of the best performing ones, and like he did that. Like, how amazing is that? So I'm so excited to see the sequel. I loved the discussion. Like, one of the things that like really just struck so close to home for me personally with the first Aquaman movie is that it felt like such a wonderful allegory for like the mixed race experience, and like Jason Momoa himself is mixed race, and he's playing a character that like I think like mixed species, I don't really want to say mixed species because that doesn't feel right, but like he himself, you know, is struggling with like 2 identities which he holds. So it was such a wonderful allegory, and I love the story like in this effects and everything like that, and I was just so happy when the movie did well. And I'm like, this is probably maybe like my actually like most anticipated movie that's coming out next year. Just again, unfortunately I have to wait to see it until December, but I'm sure it'll be worth it. The next one is going to be so Black Adam. So I actually don't know anything about this character. I will put out there that I myself am not like I don't religiously read the comic books or anything like that, but again, I do love seeing like different superhero movies. It's fun. So Black Adam, which is going to be starring The Rock, who I also adore and love, so I'm super excited to see him be in his own like MCU movie. I think he's going to do amazing, and it looks like it says it's going to be a spin-off of Shazam. And apparently he's like an anti-hero, so again, like I don't really know much about the character, but I love seeing The Rock in like basically any movie, so if he's in it, I'll probably be going, which is great. And then this one actually is super exciting. So this is going to be probably the earliest release on this. Oh no, actually it's not the earliest release, but one of the earlier releases. So January is my birthday month, so I'm super excited that there are actually going to be quite a few interesting movies coming out, and one of them is going to be Morbius, which I believe was also MCU or like Marvel, but like way darker. So we're gonna have Jared Leto in this, like in the titular role as Dr. Morbius, and essentially from what I gathered is that like he has like this very rare disease and he's trying to find a cure for it, and in the midst of doing testing and experimentation on himself, he ends up giving himself a form of vampirism. So we're gonna see if he's gonna use that ability for good or for evil. We don't know, but it looks like super dark, complicated. Like, I'm excited to check it out, and of course, like, Jared Leto's in it, so we know he's very good at playing these type of like really like dark characters, so I'm very excited to see this coming out. The release date for this is going to be January 28th. So another movie I'm super excited that's coming out in January, specifically on January 7th, is the 355, which looks like it's like a spy, like international spy movie. However, it has a looks like an ensemble cast of female spies, which is super exciting, and it looks like it's going to be like a multi-agency, multinational, international like spy movie, which is super cool. I'm so excited for it. The cast looks amazing. So we have like Jessica Chastain, so I think she's going to be representing like the CIA or the FBI, probably CIA if it's international. And then we have Lupita Nyong'o, and then Penelope Cruz, Diane Kruger, Fan Bingbing. So it looks like all of these like international intelligence agencies, they're going to have to like team up together to prevent this like massive crime that's about to happen. Okay, so I'll read the thing. It says, when a top secret weapon falls into mercenary hands, a wildcard CIA agent joins forces with 3 international agents on a lethal mission to retrieve it, while staying a step ahead of a mysterious woman who's tracking their every move. So how does that concept not sound like super intriguing and amazing? Like, it looks like it's like, it feels like it's going to be a majority female cast. It's not, you know, like both like the villains and I guess like the good guys, but you know, I'm sure that I hope they're going to be complicated because they're spies, are mostly like female as well. So I saw the trailer too, looks great. I'm very excited to see it, and the fact that it's gonna be coming out like in January, like one of like first or second week of January, I feel like that's a really good start to 2022 with that. Also, like another good thing about the 355, it's one of the few movies on this list that is not a sequel to anything, so that's also like really nice. I think Morbius too, I think that's also like a newer one, not a sequel to anything, so very excited about that. Alright, so next movie I'll be talking about is, so apparently Downton Abbey has had they're going to have a second movie coming out. I didn't know that there was like a first Downton Abbey movie that came out, so I have to check that out before I go see it. But yeah, I watched Downton Abbey, like the show, when I was in high school. I was very like, it seemed like the type of show that sounds super boring, like the concept of it sounds super boring, but like when I actually watched it, it was so compelling. Like, I was so addicted to it. Like, I binge watched like all of the seasons and like kept up with it religiously as it was getting released. Like, I think what I loved about it is that it's just a super character driven show, a lot of like complicated storylines and like great acting. Like, the cast is freaking amazing. Like, I really loved it. You definitely get to see a pretty equal at least in my opinion, like perspectives of both like the Grantham family as well as their staff. So apparently they had a movie that came out before as I guess like a sequel to the TV show, and now they have a second movie that's coming out, which is very exciting. So it's a follow-up to the 2019 feature film in which the Crawley family and Downton staff received a royal visit from the King and Queen of Great Britain. I'm guessing that must have been the plot to the previous film that came out, not the plot to this upcoming film. But again, like I really love the Downton Abbey universe. It was super cool. So I'm gonna have to locate the other Downton Abbey movie and then like watch that and then go see this, which this looks like it's coming out on March 18th. So the next movie I'm very excited to see come out is a movie called Turning Red, which is going to be coming out on March 10th, and it's a story, so I believe it centers a Chinese character, or at least of Chinese descent. A girl named Mei Li, who I think is like 13 years old in this, and I think she turns into like, it says in the description that she turns into a giant red panda when she gets too excited. I really don't know anything else about this movie at all, so it looks like it's gonna be like another like Asian or Asian inspired animated movie, I believe coming out from Pixar. So I'm definitely, you know, very excited to see again like more increasing like Asian representation in films, so I'm excited to check that out. And you know, and of course like kids movies are just so fun. Like I feel like I still like I've gone to see still like many like kids movie releases like as an adult, like on purpose, like not, you know, hey, I'm going with like my nephew or something like that. Like I'm going because I want to go see it, because they're just so fun and you just like, you learn a lot, and they're just so, it's just very heartwarming, and you know, who doesn't love enjoying that kind of content even as an adult? So excited to see that. And then my final movie that I am anticipating for next year is the Bob's Burgers movie. Did you guys even know that there's going to be a movie coming out based like off the TV show? I didn't until I was researching for this. But I love Bob's Burgers. I've watched every episode. I feel like so many stories rely on like centering around like rich people in order to get like interesting storylines, and like this show like really is just about regular people and the kind of interesting lives that they can lead in just like this small oceanside town. And I think that's just like and also without being like super vulgar and like inappropriate. Like theoretically, I feel like in most cases like your kid could watch it with you and like wouldn't be exposed to anything like super bad in it, you know, other than like your like, you know, usual like innuendos or whatever. But you know, like in a lot of Disney movies, like that's gonna fly over the kid's head probably. So like the fact that they were able to manage to accomplish that in what's technically, I believe, like an adult animation show, I think is absolutely incredible. Love the cast, like love everything about the show. So the fact that there's going to be a movie coming out is so exciting. So I don't know exactly when it is. I have a feeling, I'm not sure. It wasn't super clear if this is going to be like a theatrical release or is it going to be released on like Hulu or Fox or something like that. I don't really know, but it's a movie that's coming out next year, so regardless of whether it's in theaters or not, I will definitely be checking it out, and I'm so excited for it. Alright, so in that case then, that's going to wrap up all of my anticipated movies coming out in 2022. Please comment down below if there are any, like, do you agree with this list? Are these also movies that you're anticipating next year? Are there any other movies that you're anticipating? Like, I did mostly theatrical releases because those, like, release dates tend to be announced, like, much sooner than sometimes with, like, new movies that are coming out on streaming services. But, like, yeah, if you're anticipating a movie next year that's, like, that you know about, like, please comment that too, regardless of whether it's going to be in theaters or released on a streaming service. Like, I love watching movies, I love talking about movies, so I'm excited to check out, like, any new movies that are going to be coming out next year and take your recommendations. So please let me know. I also want to thank all of my new subscribers. Thank you so much. And anybody who's like watched my videos, especially for Tingmas. That was kind of chaotic for me to do. It was my first time undertaking so many videos within such a short span of time. So thank you so much for anybody who watched it. I really appreciated it, and also anybody who liked. and subscribed as a result of that. Thank you so very much for that. I really appreciate it. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content from me, please hit that subscribe button. And I hope, as always, that you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!